so this is going to be a bit messy, but I'm going to try and cover everything before I start to record. So I wanted to record the Atari ST, which is actually a SCART lead, like this. And I went out and bought something called an Easy Cap, which was recommended online. Unfortunately, I bought a fake. This is called Easy Cap, but actually the real brand that actually everyone brags about is EZ Cap. So I couldn't get this to work, and I don't know if it's the hardware or it's the software. So I actually gave up on this. Don't buy one of them. What I did remember was the Hopage one that I use for my HDMI gaming actually comes with AV composite leads. So I bought this female to male SCART block, which allows the image to go through the TV, and then you can split the image so it comes out again through a composite and through to this connection, which comes with the Hopage. Now the red and white is obviously your left and right audio, and the yellow is the video. And I worked out if you do yellow to blue, although most composites can be a few more colors, like you can see this red and green down here that I'm not using, you can still actually receive a connection, which then goes all the way to my laptop. So that is how I'm going to record the video, and I've already tested that a few nights ago, so I know that this works. Now the other thing I want to cover today is this weird thing. So basically I found online that someone quite incredibly created an SD reader for the Atari ST, and it runs through this ASCI adapter, which you may have seen before. It's the usual printer adapter, which goes in the back of the Atari ST. You then got a power for USB, and then you've got a card. Now the Atari ST can only read something like 200 megabytes of RAM, so even though there's an 8 gig card, it has to be partitioned several times. So I'm going to try and record all of this, and then I'm actually going to play some games to see it all working. As you can see, this is my collection of discs, and I've got a lot of discs, and I've actually been through most of them, but because I bought this from an auction, but I wanted to start recording them. The goal is to try and find some old games that I haven't found before, and obviously give me some inspiration for when I'm going to do a 2D game, probably in the next couple of years. So that's the setup. The next part is obviously the recording, and I'll put all the descriptions to this equipment, and you can decide if you want to buy it or not. I think this is very rare. I mean, this is made by a guy in Poland, and I'm going to put his details up there. It's amazing that it's still quite blurry, you can't actually see. Amazing that someone would actually take the time to build something like this. This isn't like manufactured, he's building these as they come in by order. And then there's a few websites literally dedicated to archiving the Atari ST collection. And although I like to have all the games, I can't, you can't always get them all because there's a lot of rares. As you can see, I've got a small collection of maybe rare games, but nowhere near what I can get if I download. Okay, thanks. So this is it all wired up. Here you've got the Atari coming through the TV. And then you've got the USB power to the SD drive, the Hopage, and then I can record it. Now there is some lag coming through this thing, and I'm guessing this isn't going to work. So let's wait and see. Next part is recording in game. Okay, so this is the Ultra Satan. So here you can see all the different drives. It opens as D and C, E and F. It goes higher than that, but Gem will only open a maximum number of windows. That's the reason why you can't see it. But I'm not going to test that at the moment. What I'm going to do now is actually load a disk, which is already in the disk drive. I think the Ultra Satan has, well, you can partition 8 gigabytes worth, 235 megs each. So this is one of the copy disks I've got, and I've got just over 1,000, I think. So there's a few different games here. The one I'm going to test is Snoopy, and as you can see, I got an error on my first go, which is typical. For the last 2 days, I've been running into loads and loads of errors. So I'm going to try and load it again. If I remember correctly, I actually have to restart the Atari. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have to start again. Okay, so I managed to get the game working. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm recording over the top of video because I've come across a problem for the last 2 days where I can't actually work out how I can record my voice and play at the same time. It works in HDMI, but it must be something to do with sound. Okay, so this is the game. The idea is you have to find Lionel's blanket, and what I'm showing is how to complete it. It took me a while when I was a kid, but behind here you'll find a hidden item, which is a typewriter. Every item in this game has a purpose, and for a long time I didn't actually find this typewriter. I thought there was only one way to complete it, but there's actually two, and I'm just going to show you the quickest way first, the way that works. So you give this letter to Charlie Brown, he disappears and goes and posts it. You'll see that I'm actually running through this completion, because I think it was like the 9th or 10th time I was actually playing this. I got pretty bored, and I'm actually going to speed up some sections, I think. So here is Lionel's house. This is where Lionel tells you he's lost his blanket. His eyes are all red like he's on crack or something watching TV. There you can see one of the blankets inside the washing machine. You know it's blue because of the because it's on the cover of the official box. But I had maybe 4 or 5 versions of this game growing up. I'll show you what the umbrella's used for in a minute. It's one of the items you can't jump with. No, actually it's the only item you can't jump with. I don't know why. I actually want to speed through this, but I'm not going to bother because anyone watching this video is going to be the first time they see it. So you can go into all these different places. That's the school. It's Charlie Brown's house. There's a couple of items on the floor which I'll show you what they do later on. This screen, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing here. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a third way to complete this night. I just never heard of it. The catapult and the apple, these all come into play later on. This is like a scoreboard screen, and it actually does play a role in the second way to complete later on. So this is me showing you how you can't go get that ball. And basically this is what you need the umbrella for. Now, when I was testing this out the other day, that's just me testing You Can't Go Left. It was the first time I played this game in like 20 years or something. Well, more than 20, but... So I came across so many bugs with this game. I played it so many times. One of the ones is if anything gets stuck in between the screens, so you can kick this ball. If you kick it in between the screen, it's gone. You can't get it back. Same with this frog that you have to capture later on in a jar. If it bounces between the screens, that's it, it's gone. So that happened to me, and the game crashed a few times, and there was lots of bugs. When I was a kid, there's only one thing I knew you had to use this ball for, but for some reason, this is before the internet, I took it to this screen, and this is the entrance to the school, like this, and kicked it like this, and a brick came out. And that was pretty crazy because... Again, this is supposed to be for kids, right? I don't know who's going to work this one out. You'll see in a minute what the letter's for, because it's all part of the completion. So the only thing this brick can do is it can go up in the air, or sorry, you can toss it up in the air, and this is how you get the apple. You think you get the apple with a catapult, but I'll show you later on the reason why you can't. There's another item stuck in a tree as well, which is a kite. But the brick doesn't knock it out. So one of your first guesses with an apple is to give it to the teacher, because the This is one of the things I don't know why it always stuck with me. On this screen, you can see Lionel's blanket sticking out of the locker there, so there's like two versions of Lionel's blanket. I don't know if she's sleeping all the time or she's only sleeping when you get the apple. I can't remember. So you can't actually give it to you. You just walk up to the table, and actually should be a speed run video of this. So you get a whistle. Whistle obviously wakes someone up. She drops a pair of scissors. And you see, the thing was, when I found that letter, you'll see in a minute what the letter delivers, but I knew there must have been other items in the game that I didn't know about. I guess I was maybe 8 when I was playing this. So here you can see a parcel, and I'm just showing you how you can't open it or pick it up. This is a heavy parcel. So here you can open it like this, and then you can pick it up. So it must be just the wrapping that's actually that heavy, because you can jump with it now. So this, if you stand still, it says it's a bust. I had no clue what I had to do with this item, and it gets even more complicated as well. So, I mean, obviously, as a kid, I ran all over the map with this item, trying to figure out what to do with it. But there is a bit of a clue here on this next screen. So if you try and give the bust to her, she does like an action. She like points in the opposite direction and says, well, it doesn't say anything. There's no noise. Now I know what you need to do here, but I didn't know back at the time, and I'm just doing something else for fun now. You don't have to do this. Basically, you have to wait till someone turns up. These are the other items which are pointless. So this shows you a score. So that means that there are ways to score higher. And I should have thought about that, and I would have known there was a different way to complete it, because there's no reason to have a scoreboard if there's more than one way to complete it. Here's a watch. This tells you the time in the game. Certain things happen at certain times in the game. Then you got this fuck, and you got to wait for him to get all the way to the house, which can take ages. I'm gonna stop talking now and speed this part up, because it takes way too long, and it's pretty frustrating. But you know, as a kid, waiting isn't something you're gonna do, so I don't know how I'll work this out. Okay, so after waiting a long time, or obviously you didn't have to wait because we just sped it up, something should happen. But again, as a kid, how the hell are you gonna work this shit out? What's his name? Makes it all the way down the street and makes it into the house. So at least I thought it was around here. Here we go. And then the washing machine starts for no apparent reason. So you pick up the blanket. It doesn't actually say it's Lionel's blanket. It just says it's a blanket. Then you give it to Lionel, and that's it. That's how easy it is. And now I'm going to do the version that I know that always breaks. The version that I tried for so long and so many copies and never actually found out how it works. So I'll talk for the beginning parts, but there'll be parts that I'm going to try and speed up, because
it's all the sections you've seen from the previous version. So all the items come into play here pretty much, apart from the school has no purpose here. The dog bowl is just, I guess, a way of teaching you how to interact with items. If you give it to Charlie Brown, he gives you food. So you need this jar first. And now we're going to go to a section that you won't have seen before. So you'll notice the characters appear in different places, which is kind of strange. It seems at random every time you play it. So here's a kite, which I don't think you've seen before, and that's what we need to get down. The brick won't get it down, by the way. There's this frog, which can be a real pain in the ass, because if you don't catch it and goes between the screens, you have to restart. So I messed up there, you can see. I was like, oh no, please don't. I caught it, right, okay. So now the next part is I need the football, which we've already seen, so I'm going to stop it here and speed it up. Okay, so this is what you use the football for, and it's pretty straightforward, and you'll see it in a minute. So you have to make it across this like jumping puzzle, which I failed first time. So here, hang on, I should have got it right by now. It's not like I didn't play this game like 8 times before. So there was a bit you can't jump on, which the football takes its place. So the ball actually serves 2 parts of the puzzle, which is kind of interesting. I need some. This can be a real pain. Okay, so here you've got a well, and everyone knows chuck a coin in a well, and you'll see what it does. So then balloons come out, and what looks like a stick of dynamite or something. I've got no clue. So the next part, I'm going to speed up again because it's a long way. So you'll notice that when I went to go get that apple, I made one shot just to show you that you can't actually hit that apple down, which is what you think you'd use it for. So this is a bit painful now because I think it took me a few tries. I should just really fast forward through this bit, but anyway, we'll wait. So you pretty much know that you need to stop those balloons, so you need to pop the balloon. Is this the one? Unbelievable. Why does it make you start from the beginning? Why not just start from like the peg? Okay, this is painful. It's painful to watch and comment on, never mind when I was playing it. And I don't know how many times I jumped across here. Ah, this is the one for sure. Okay. So it's 2 red balloons, 1 red balloon, and then it's got the item on it. So you just gotta wait for this to... Here we go. So here you find a new item that you've never seen before. Now imagine finding this for the first time thinking, what the hell is that? Is it a stick of dynamite? I knew... Well, at the time I probably didn't know what it was. I don't even know what it is now, looking at it. Obviously, I know where I'm going, because I did this a long time ago, but... And there's a section here where I don't want to jump, because sometimes with this item it crashes. In fact, the game can crash at random at certain parts as well. So a lot of Atari games can crash at random parts. It can be really frustrating. So here's the frog, which you'll see comes into play in a minute. There's also a bug in this that I also found, another one, that you can't use the joystick to activate this. So you can see that she's wearing this. So that is a clue. Now this looks like a mud pile, but it's actually not. What you wouldn't know it wasn't a mud pile unless you had this item and she was wearing a bathing suit. So now you can pretty much guess this is a swimming pool that you have to blow up. And you have to hold the right mouse button so he actually stays in this action, and then you have to wiggle the joystick to get it to work. And it takes ages, and it has to be a certain tempo as well, or it doesn't work. You'll see in a minute I get the right tempo. Like, I would have never known what this was. There you go. So now I know it's doing something. Okay. Next thing, obviously, is to fill up water, which this item is pretty self-explanatory, so you wouldn't have really... You could have guessed. But I always thought that it was water in a mud pit. And the stupid thing is, I don't think you need to do this, because I've seen you can do it without this when I made a mistake earlier. So you go get the frog, and frogs scare girls, or at least that's the idea. And you can actually scare her without filling that up with water, I think. Okay, then she drops that, which you have to inflate. Now I know that you have to inflate it in the right place, but the first time you obviously inflate it, then you try and pick it up and it's deflated again. I don't know why, it's just really frustrating. So for a long time I didn't know what this item did. Then I realized that if you jump on it while it's inflated, it'll propel you. So I'm going to skip this bit so we can show you what it happens. Okay, so this is the final part. So if you remember that in the school there was a locker with Lionel's blanket in there. So I always thought you needed a key, and this is where you'll see it. Like I said, I had like 5 or 6 variations of this disc, all copies, and the same thing happens with every version. And I feel sorry for those that never realized you could complete it a different way. Key falls out, there you see the bombs, the 3 bombs on the left hand side. You cannot complete it. I'd love to see someone on the internet actually fix the code for this so we can see a different ending. And that's it.